You have 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops. Trembling, Jiran's tentacle limb sprayed across the white paint. His skin had become so dark he was nearly invisible in the gloom, but for the red input port at his temple that was flashing in time with the connection in the wall. Nuri swallowed back her fear. What her partner was doing couldn't be easy, and she didn't envy the Javeth drone this evening. Despite this being their 5th job as a pair, she was still a bundle of nerves. Hi everyone, my name is Vuvu and this is Vuvu Vena Reads. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. Please don't forget to press the red subscribe button before you leave and join the family. If you are a returnee, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate you returning and spending your time with me. Today I am reviewing Sing Down the Stars by Nerine Dorman. This is a South African book by a South African author who won the gold in the Sanlam Prize for Youth Literature last year in 2019. This book was sent to me courtesy of NB Publishers for review purposes. So because this is a review copy, I'd like to read you a little bit about the author that was sent to me. So Nerine Dorman is an editor and author from Cape Town. She has been involved in the media industry for more than a decade with a background in magazine and newspaper publishing, commercial fiction, independent filmmaking, print production and management, and advertising. She is also a founding member and coordinator for the Adamster Writers Guild. So that's how much we know about Nerine Dorman. I think that this is her debut novel. I could be wrong, correct me in the comment section if I am wrong. Sing Down the Stars follows main character Nuri, who is an orphan, always a winner. Orphan stories are always gonna be the best. Who is an orphan who has who grew up in the slums of this planet in the galaxy. So it's not set on planet Earth, it's set somewhere in space. Nuri herself is a hybrid, you could say she's a hybrid. She's what's called a humanoid in the planet that she lives in. It's set in a city called Kalen City within this planet, and there's a tradition in this community where after a while a person from the community gets to merge with what they call a star jumper, which is a special type of nymph that gets to connect different planets in the galaxies where they can then do trade, they can learn from each other. So this being or nymph can only exist through one person who then lives to unite the planets, if that makes sense, and to do the bidding of this nymph, which is a very special calling in this era that Nuri and her counterparts live in. So whoever could possibly be chosen by the nymph is referred to as the chosen, and it's usually people from the elite of the community who are chosen and are taken through a rigorous training program in a special training facility where they get to learn combat, they get to learn history, they get to learn geography, and they also get to learn the special skill sets that they have and how to use them properly. So Nuri is unlikely to be part of the chosen. She lives in what's known as the slums. Basically, she lives in the barrens, is what they call it in the book, and she is a runner. So she's a criminal. Her most evident talent is that she is very fast, and she's part human, part something else that's got scales. This is her on the cover, by the way, as you can see. And on a certain day, after committing a certain crime, she decides to go out at night for a walk because her boss basically pissed her off. So she takes this walk and she gets the calling. The calling leads her to this facility where she is the underdog, and stories about underdogs. I mean, Nerine, really, she took the orphan, she made her an underdog, and she basically allowed the story to transpire from just those two main elements of Nuri's life. So she gets to the facility, and because she is the only one that has ever been called by the nymph, she becomes somewhat special though hated. And what transpires is her won't even call it an adventure, her journey towards discovering whether or not she truly is as special as people say she is, and whether or not she really is called by this nymph or not. So sorry, hello. So the journey that Nerine Dorman takes us on is one of discovering how true this calling is, and whether or not Nuri is worthy of this calling. So she does a lot with Nuri's character development. However, I think that the book is longer than what it should be. The book is divided into 3 parts, if I'm not mistaken, or rather in my head. Okay, in my head I've divided the book into 3 parts. So she gets called, she goes to the facility. At the facility there's about 200 other people who are from elite society who are also called, and there's a kind of winning or a kind of purgery that, well, yeah, a purging ceremony that occurs after a few tasks have been done, that gets rid of half of these people, and then the last one only leaves 20 behind in the facility. So between the first purge and the last one, I really don't see how the story developed, if I'm being honest. It really did kind of become very annoying to me, because I was really trying to really like it, but that part, and I think it makes up for maybe more than a third of the book, was somewhat unnecessary to me. However, the first part and the last part do move the story forward. That middle part really doesn't do anything, in as far as I can tell, and that kind of annoyed me to an extent. However, it doesn't take away from the fact that Nerine really has a very beautiful story here, and she has told it as, I think, best as anybody could have told it. I did have a few stumbling blocks, and I don't know whether this is the final copy that's hit the shelves, but I did see on more than numerous occasions that there were certain words that were left out in sentences, and that caused me to stumble a lot, and that made the reading process not so enjoyable. However, like I'm saying, none of these things that I'm going to point out as negatives take away from the actual story, because I think that's the strength of this book, is in its story. It was a slow start as well. I didn't enjoy the fact that the first chapter and a half were not truly enjoyable to me at all. And once it started, though, it really went for it. Nuri is the kind of character that will grow on your heart. I just want to warn you from the start. She is absolutely lovable, even in her flaws. She is understandable, she is relatable, and I think Nerine did a stellar job with that character. Absolutely divine. This book as well has a lot of other books that it reminds me of. So the kind of storyline does remind me a little bit of Harry Potter. It also reminds me, it's got like some form of dystopian feel that also reminds me of the Hunger Games. I haven't read the Hunger Games, but I've watched the movies, at least 2 of the movies, and something in here really reminds me of the Hunger Games. It also meshes a lot of genres in here. So this is a young adult novel. However, you do pick up some sci-fi. Like I said, you pick up some dystopian. You do pick up sci-fi, dystopian, crime, thriller-ish. Maybe I'm pushing it with those last 2. But it's definitely no one genre that you can say without a doubt this is the only genre that there is, or maybe all of these other genres are happening in the shell of sci-fi. So you get a lot of talk about virtual reality, you get a lot of talk about augmented reality, there's a lot of gadgets in this one, and there's a lot of space talk as well. It is quite enjoyable, and I think for Nerine, I'll give her props because she's made it simple even for people who don't usually consume any of that kind of content. Me being people, I am people, so I feel like she really accommodates the reader in exploring this world. So while I had a few things that I really didn't enjoy, it's as well as among them is the whole not readying the reader for action. Action just seems to happen out of the blue in this, or rather developments, especially major developments, just seem to be dropped on you without any preparation, whether the preparation is going to shock you or it's going to make you feel like you saw it coming. Something these just happen, they seem arbitrary at best, and I didn't enjoy that at all, because one minute I'm reading something, the next minute something so unexpected occurs. And I don't know whether it was pressure to keep the book the size that it is or what happened there. And I'll always go back to the fact that this still doesn't take away from the fact that this is a brilliant story and it is told so brilliantly well. The themes that are captured in the story include family, relationships, friendships, the sense of belonging, destiny, love, and the whole idea of being wanted. So she has explored these themes so very well. Like I'm saying, it's one that is worth picking up. I am thinking at this point, especially because of how the book ends, that there might be a sequel. I am not promising because I don't know, but I think that there might be a sequel to this book, which would really be quite interesting because of how the book has ended. Other than that, I gave this book a 3.75 stars out of 5, and I do recommend it to anybody who is interested in any of the different things that I have listed. I hope that you will enjoy this, and let me know what you thought of it if you do read it, and if it is in your radar. Like I always say, let me know when you're gonna read it, when you plan on reading it, or if I have just put it in your radar. Just let me know that as well in the comment section down below. Otherwise, thank you so very much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, I really do love you guys. Bye now.